Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. This is Rain, and I want to thank all of you guys who voted for me. I want to thank all you guys who keeps voting for me, and I really appreciate it, win or lose, okay? But today I wanted to touch on the topic of remote work because there's been so much noise going on about remote work lately. And I understand both sides of the coin, right? Like, I understand the people who are running the businesses and the banks, because that's really who's pushing this whole make the people come back to the office. It's the banks, because these businesses, they have bank loans on these big commercial properties. There's no one in there, so they're not collecting rent, so they can't pay the mortgages, and so they're pushing for you to come back to work. But here's the thing about remote work. I work 2 days from home, and I go to the office 3 days. And I hate when people say when you're working from home, you are not productive. You are productive. Working from home allows me to pick up my son from school. It allows me to take him to school. It allows me to pick him up from school. It also allows me to assist with homework. I'm saving on travel time, so I am making dinner. I'm starting dinner at 5:30 instead of starting dinner at 8, and then it's getting on the table at like 10. And forget it, I live in New York City, so that means that if the trains and the buses run late, come on, New York City Transit, they don't even care that people are getting home, right? So the travel time saves you. But I also remember when I didn't even know that remote work was a thing, and this is back in, I want to say like 2012, right? I was working in private banking, and I was working an admin job, and I was making $15 an hour. $15 an hour. And my daughter, who was about 3 at the time, I was paying her sitter $10 an hour to babysit her for 8 hours while I go to work. $15 an hour, go to work, pay someone $10 an hour. And I know that is the reality for a lot of people right now, okay? I have a sister who's been working remotely since the pandemic happened, and they actually made her position 100% remote. They're like, listen, I don't see any reason why y'all have to come to the office. Anyway, let's just make this a thing where you guys are, these positions are working remotely. She drives maybe about 96 hours to 96 miles, I'm sorry, not hours, 96 miles to get to work each way. And she has 2 kids, little kids, like Lewis's age. And now they're saying that she has to come back to work. And she's like, yo, what am I supposed to do? And that's the thing. These employers, they don't care. And that is a big part of the reason why entrepreneurship is important to me. It's the reason why I go so hard on it to work for myself, because it's not just money, right? Money allows you to do stuff, and flexibility in time allows you to do stuff. So I'm making money, so now I can afford food, and I can afford shelter, and I can afford clothes. But when I have the time, I can sit with my son and I can do homework. I can pick him up from school. I can take him to the park. I don't necessarily need to sit in front of my computer for 8 hours, right? I can garden. I'm actually not that terrible of a gardener, right? I love being outside. On my home right now, I'm sitting on my front steps, and hi, that was my neighbor. He's a retired corrections officer, and most times when I'm in my front yard, his wife is in their front yard doing the same thing, gardening. But working from home just allows you to, first of all, it allows you to save money, right? Because for people who have kids, and most of us have kids, and I'm talking from a parent perspective, and I'm telling you, when I was making $15 an hour and paying $10 an hour for someone to watch my kid, and when Friday comes and I get paid, I have no money. I have no money. But just to say that I have a job and that I'm working, at the time I wasn't getting food stamps because the city or the state felt like I was making too much money, and I think I was like $30 over the limit, and so they didn't give me any food stamps because I did apply. I mean, I could use some right now, but I didn't get it, and it was a real struggle for me to make $15 an hour and pay 10, but I had to work, right? And if there was an opportunity back then for people like me who work support roles to work in a remote position where we actually get to pick our kids up from school. Sorry guys, someone is just calling me. Then it would be so much better. And right now they're telling you that you cannot work remotely because you have to be in the office. A recruiter actually contacted me this morning and asked me if I'm interested in a remote work, in a hybrid position that they have. It's actually 4 days in office and 1 day remote, and it's a docket clerk and legal assistant position, and the salary is $75K a year. 75K a year sounds good on paper, so but you come home with what? Right? Let's talk about what the take home is and not what the salary looks like on paper. So I told her I'm not interested. I'm not interested in working anybody's job in office 4 days and be home 1 day. What is that? And then you're offering me a dual role, right? You offered me double role, which means that I'm going to work 4 different roles, right? Because I now have to be a legal secretary, I have to be a docket clerk, I got to be research assistant, I got to be paralegal. So now you want me to work 4 jobs at $75,000 a year. You want me to be in the office 4 days a week, and then you want me to pay somebody $15 an hour to come here in the morning, get my son ready for school, take him to school, pick him up from school, be here, help him with homework until I get home. So now I'm sharing my salary with somebody else, but I should be happy to come into the office. Are you kidding me? Nah, keep your work, bro. Keep your work. And that's why a lot of people is like, yo, I'd rather not work than work under this bullshit patriarchy. You understand? And all these jobs and all these people who run these companies, they're getting ready to go to the south of France right now. They're in their houses in Montauk. They're on their farm in Maine, and that's cool. Well, guess what? I might not be on my farm in Maine, but I'd like to be and still get work done, right? Last week when the air quality was bad in New York City, I was actually in the office, and my manager said he wanted me to cover a luncheon for him that he couldn't go to. So I'm like, okay, fine, I can cover the luncheon. The luncheon was Thursday. At the time that he asked, you know, we didn't know that the air quality was going to be actually bad in New York City. So Wednesday evening, when I went outside at 1 o'clock in Midtown, it was bleak out there. It was bleak. It definitely looked like the apocalypse, as most of you, almost all of you in the whole world saw, and some of you experienced. They sent out an email at work at like 7 o'clock or after 6 in the evening saying you can work from home. The work from home requirement is no longer, is on pause for like the next 3 days. So it was Wednesday, and they're saying for the next 3 days you can work from home until the air quality improved. But guess what? They said the email stated that with the exception of essential staff, and essential staff is considered to be the practice admins, the IT staff, and the paralegals. They are considered essential staff. So the email said, except for essential staff, you have to check with your immediate supervisor if you're needed in office. So I'm just trying to figure out if the air quality was different for those essential staff. Because for me, the people who are supposed to be essential staff and in office are the people who owns the company. Your ass need to be here to protect your asset. If you can't breathe this air, then I can't breathe this air either. And so when people are of the mindset that, you know what, I would rather pick up bottles, I would rather do laundry, I would rather struggle, cut grass, than to work for these people. You know, there are people who stay on the side and be like, yo, I don't know how you do it, you gotta work, you lazy. But yo, let me tell you something. People take us, the people who work support roles and the lay people, they really just take it for a joke while they sit in their Teslas, right, and drink their Mai Tais. Like, yo, we don't care about you, or we don't care about your kid. I work under someone who don't care about nobody but himself, and he comes off as like he cares. He doesn't care. And what bothers me is that he thinks that you don't notice that he's like, just, it's the bullshit that they think that you don't notice, right? And that pisses me off. I says, listen, I need to work remotely. I'm gonna homeschool my son. We have decided that we're going to homeschool Lewis, and I am going to move. Can I take this job remotely? It's a lot of things, right? And they don't realize that we just worked 3 years remotely. Like, this job could literally be done from anywhere in the world, right? without harming anyone, without anyone losing anything. And if the job could not be done from home and people weren't productive, everything would literally come crashing down. So what's the beef? Right? That's what I want to know. Like, what's the beef? Like, why can't we do it? Right? He asked me if I would come in. He's like, you could come in, maybe fly in a couple times a month for like events and work functions. And I'm a docketing clerk, and if there's any docketing clerk out there watching this video, please tell me what kind of work functions you have to go to a month, because I don't do company get-togethers. You know what I mean? I don't. At 5 o'clock, when you're telling me that you're having something and we're going to celebrate birthdays for the month of June or for the month of May, and it's happening at 5 o'clock, I'm not coming. 5 o'clock, I'm hustling to catch my express bus to get from Manhattan to Queens. And if I miss the bus, I have to wait another hour. And the MTA started canceling the bus when someone calls out for their shift. So now what, I hang out with you for 2 hours and then what? I'm not doing that. So while we are bashing people from remote work, especially in the New York City mayor who said that, oh, people who work from home, they are working in their pajamas. First of all, Mr. Mayor, when I work from home, I get up, I brush my teeth, I jump in the shower, I get dressed, because I like waking up and cold water wakes me up. And I like feeling good in the morning. So I get up and I get dressed. And see how I'm looking right now? All I have to do if I have a meeting on video is throw a blazer on. I am work ready. How dare you? And then you perpetrate that stereotype that people who work from home are working in their pajamas. And so what? If I come down and make my coffee in my pajamas, what does that have to do with my capabilities of getting your work done? I saw jobs that the city posted that they're asking you to give up your entire life and your entire time for on-site work 5 days a week. Do you know how much it's paying? $60,000 to $65,000 a year. He can keep that job because he just hired his sister-in-law for a Department of Education role. She was working in Virginia, making I think $65,000 or $75,000 a year. He hired her here in the same role, making double what she was making. It's okay for them, right? Nepotism at its finest, but it's not okay for us because, like, who are we? We don't need that money, right? We don't need to eat. We don't need to pay bills, and the fucking car insurance is so expensive in New York. Motherfuckers is parking their cars, so I have to drive it because insurance is so, I mean, come on. Why do I have to come into the office? What is it that you want from me? So you want me to come in, you look at me, I look at you, we look at the four walls, I look back on the computer. You like to see me smile? Take a video. Take a picture. I don't even like smiling. You know what I'm saying? But it's just unbelievable to me. Everyone is knocking like remote work, and they're saying that people are lazy and they don't want to work and they don't want to go into the office. Listen, I don't mind going into the office. If you give me flexibility, I will come into the office on my own, right? Sometimes I like to get up, get dressed. I feel good. Birds are chirping. I'm like, you know what? I feel like going into the city. I'll get dressed and I'll go into the city. But the pressure of and the fear that they try to instill in you to tell you that you either come into the office. I sit in an office with no windows. That's a glass door. It's like literally 3 pieces of sheetrock on the glass door. No air. I don't know what time it is outside. If it's raining, it's shocking to me when I go outside. Rain or fall, you know? So no sun is, or you're freezing. So when you go outside and you realize that it's a beautiful day and the sun is out, you're shocked because you're like, damn, it was fucking cold in that office. You know, they try to put you to sleep, and then they make it even worse. Like companies that have like snacks and coffee all the time. We appreciate it, but damn, the whole point of me going out and grabbing a Starbucks or something from the cart along 6th Ave or along outside on Wall Street is because I want the air of the Lord to grace my skin. I want the sun to shine on my melanin. You know what I'm saying? I want to say hi to people I've never seen before. I want a New York City cab to honk at me because I'm taking too long to cross the street and he's trying to make a right turn. You want to, so it gives you a little break from work and from seeing the same people that you see 5 days a week. And no, I don't need to collaborate unless it's absolutely necessary. I really rather avoid people avoid me like the plague. Just let me do my work, pay me, and deuces. All right. So all that noise about remote work and people being lazy to come into the office, and oh my God, the city is in crisis, all these buildings are in crisis. Because listen, don't y'all say that y'all don't have nowhere to house people? And y'all better start turning these offices into like little townhomes or condos so people can have a place to live. Y'all giving out vouchers to people to rent places, and y'all have all these buildings that's empty. But y'all focused on the migrant crisis. I mean, come on, man. But from somebody who spent, what, a year in New York City shelter just because they have that stupid 90-day rules that if you're on the verge of homelessness or if you're homeless, you have to spend 90 days to get the voucher, to get help to pay your rent so you don't have to live outside in the elements. But they did away with it now because it suits the narrative, right? The mayor temporarily paused it because it suits the narrative, because all of a sudden people can get out of shelters quickly and into homes quickly so they can have space for the migrants. But it was okay when people were in the shelters for 2-3 years to get rental assistance and then get the rental assistance and can't find a place because the city don't always pay. You understand? But what's the long-term help? But you know what? I'm getting off topic. I'm really just came up here to talk about remote work. And then one thing leads to the other, and I can go on forever. But guys, it's Friday. Happy Friday. It is going to be an awesome weekend. It's Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Salute to you. You know, keep the pad, keep strong. We see you. We appreciate you. We love you. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.